Thank you for service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your family's service. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Veterans of America. That's what we say, right? And I think a lot of us mean it. But how do we show our thanks? That's where it starts to get much less laudable. Retired Brigadier General Mark Kimmett, Marine veteran Eric Mitchell, whose company LifeFlip Media is one of America's leading advocates for veterans. First, thank you for your service. I appreciate you doing us the service of coming in to discuss the reality. So, Eric, I'll start with you. We know about the VA. Trump just said, oh, the VA is doing great. It's not doing great. Certain surveys say this. But what do people need to understand about how many military members and their families are on the margins?
All of them. The VA, I mean, it's not just the President Trump. He's just a series of presidents that have come out and said the VA is just doing fine. Of course, their health care is great. It's great to be POTUS. But I can tell you, Chris, an hour ago, I was getting text messages from a friend who's sitting in a VA in California right now. He's been there for almost 10 hours, and he's having a health crisis. It's out of control. And it's not just that. It's the shutdown. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about friends of mine who are having to send money to their children who are active duty military to pay their bills because they haven't been paid. This thank you for our service in this one day, it's not just that. It's our military. It's our veterans. We have to do more than just one day, and it's just a slap in the face that people need to understand what's really going on. And there's so many ways that Americans can support veterans, not just one day. You got to go further than that and look at the businesses you could support and how that helps veterans truly every day. Because there's people everywhere, businesses across the country that you probably don't even know are veteran owned. If you supported them, that's truly helping a veteran out there.
100%. You're going to appreciate this, Eric. I mean, you don't agree with the point, but you're going to respect where it's coming from. So I'm reading the notes of the pre-interview with General Kimmett, right? And, Mark, I'm a big fan of yours, General. And one of your points is, look, this shutdown, the pain of it was improper, but it may be good for the fighting men and women to feel the pain of those that they protect, even if it manifests itself in the shutdown. That is such a military man attitude, General. Explain that to people about why you feel that way.
Well, first of all, I think what you need to do is make sure your pre-interviews do a little bit better putting the comments in context. What I said was this. The veterans are part of America. They came from America. They went back to America after their period of service. I came from an era when I first came into the military, we were denigrated. We were put down. We were just totally despised by society. I think, unfortunately, during the GWOT, in fact, for many reasons, the military has become venerated. And I think it's important to understand that the military, the soldiers, the veterans, neither want to be denigrated nor venerated. They want to be part of America. And if that means at certain points in time, they need to share the burdens that their fellow policemen, firemen, nurses, and other first responders are facing, we're not a special class. We're not a Praetorian Guard. We are part of America, and we should be treated the same way any other first responder does and bear the same burdens that every other special person like a first responder does. That's my point.
I think it's a great point, and I appreciate you making it, General. And again, even if you don't agree with the context, I think it is an uncommon kind of modesty and humility. And I think that's one of the things that people love about men and women who go into the service. So, Eric, within that lens of recognition that, yeah, okay, you guys aren't supposed to have a special standard, I'm saying that it's the hypocrisy. It's not from the General, of course, but politicians always say you are special, and then they never deliver on what you're special.
Chris, you couldn't hit the nail better on the head on that one. I agree with the General and exactly in his context. It is frustrating if you look at it as a veteran or somebody who's currently serving. How is it that Congress and Senate, they're still getting paid, and if we needed to go to war at a moment's notice, we could send our troops off who aren't getting paid? It kind of drives you nuts. But here's an interesting point as the shutdown is coming to an end. What did they conveniently sneak into the bill? Mitch McConnell did it. He snuck in taking away hemp for states that it's already illegal, which is a big pain point for veterans who use cannabis, because what will this afford system do? Not be able to have access to it and go back to big pharma and using drugs that, by the way, raise, and it's proven, there's lots of data out there that proves that going back on these pharmaceuticals raise the rate of suicide in veterans. And I was just speaking to one of the biggest advocates for this, Janae Sergio, who works for the Grunt Style Foundation, who's spoken on Capitol Hill on this, and talking about how big this was just snuck in. And it's once again, this isn't the first bill, Chris, I'm sure you've reported on this, that veteran measures are always snuck in. And this is where veterans just get sick and tired of this stuff being used. It's like political pawns with the folks up in D.C.
General, for people who are considering going into the service, why do you think it's a great move for a young man or woman?
Well, first of all, I'd note that in the past 6 months, the re-enlistment rates and the enlistment rates are starting to skyrocket. Look, the fact remains is, yes, we can always do better for certain parts of our veteran community, particularly those that have had grievous wounds in combat. That is not, as my colleague would know, that doesn't mean we necessarily need to venerate every fobbit that was out there that sat for 12 months inside an FOB and never got out and saw a moment of combat. The fact remains the United States still provides better service to their veterans than most every other country that I've ever served with. So my simple point would be we can always do better. I think we need to take care of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that had extraordinary casualties, extraordinary loss of limb that really need the help. But I got to tell you, we've had 3 million people serve in the military since the war on terrorism started, and we don't need to make them a protected class like some group that is incapable of taking the pain. As for what they can do coming in the Army, look, the Army's and the services, always what they have been. Great place to come in, grow up, learn a trade, get back, and make your life better on the outside.
General Kimmett, thank you for your service. Thank you for your perspective. Eric Mitchell, thank you for your service. You're always welcome here to make the case. Good luck with the work advocating for the men and women who have served this country. Up